Hello, guys. Good morning, everybody. I'm audible. Just let me know in the comment box. Just let me know in the comment box. I'm audible. Okay. Thank you so much, Shivani. Vaibhav, thank you so much. Right? Okay. Good morning, everybody. ठीक है जी. Okay. 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 Right. Let's start the session for today then. Right. Now, these are the front page news that we have in today's newspaper, right? So today's newspaper is a very simple newspaper, right? So टुडे आज कुछ ज्यादा एडिटोरियल में ज्यादा नहीं है, तो सिर्फ एक बेसिक बेसिक न्यूज है, तो उनको कवर करेंगे, राइट? सो दैट यू गाइस हैव अ लॉट ऑफ, लेट्स से, व्हाट वी कैन से, पर्टिकुलर वी कैन से टुडे वुड बी अ ग्लांस ऑफ द न्यूज़पेपर ओनली, राइट? ओके. So Macron has accepted the Prime Minister's invite to be the chief guest at Republic Day, right? So this is one of the global news that we have in today's newspaper, and right, and Bajrang Punia has written to PM that he is returning Padam Shri in protest. I think you are aware of the protests that have been happening against the WFI president and the new president that has been elected, because he has been considered to be an aide of the former WFI president, who were basically, when we talk about, had certain allegations that were put forward against him by the wrestling, we can say, players, and as a result, the Bajrang Punia has now written to PM that he would return Padam Shri in protest, right? So these are certain news that you need to understand, right? So yes, okay. Now this is the article, curb kicks on cars, construction as air quality worsen begins, right? वही same news है जो चल रही है. Air quality को लेके आपको पता ही होगा. Air quality index very important, and the everything that is being organized over here, it is being done by Center for Air Quality Management, right? So this is the important point that we have to understand, that Center for Air Quality Management is right now the nodal agency that is there, which is an executive body that is handling the problem of air pollution in Delhi and its NCR region, right? So you need to understand this particular part, that is Center for Air Quality Management, and they have prohibited the flying of BS3 petrol vehicles and BS4 diesel vehicles, and those compliant only with Bharat Stage 3 and Stage 4 emission norms in Delhi, right? So these are the things that we have to understand over here. Okay. Now, और कौन सी चीजें इन्होंने इंट्रोड्यूस करी हैं? They have introduced mechanized sweeping of roads to be intensified, daily sprinkling of water at traffic hotspots, frequency of public transport services to be increased, and mining and associated activities to be closed, right? So these are certain measures that have been taken, that have been put forward in across Delhi and NCR in order to control the deteriorating air quality that is right now in Delhi, right? आप देख सकते हो air quality index यहाँ पे, it has reached to 409. From December 16 it was 354, and now it has reached to 409. See, when we talk about these type of news, you have to understand one thing, that you need to understand the measures that are being employed by the government, by the agencies, by the authorities, in order to control the problem of air pollution, right? So these are the points that you can write in your mains examination as well, and that will help you a lot, right? And one of these points are very much important, जैसे कि माइनिंग एक्टिविटीज को बंद किया जा रहा है, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट की फ्रीक्वेंसी बढ़ाई जाएगी ताकि लोग प्राइवेट व्हीकल्स को कम यूज करें, राइट? देन यू हैव द डेली स्प्रिंकलिंग ऑफ वाटर एट ट्रैफिक हॉटस्पॉट्स, देन you have the mechanized sweeping of roads to be intensified. Now, one of the thing you have to understand is, when we talk about air quality between 201 and 300, it is considered as poor. Between 301 and 400, very poor. And when it reaches to 401 to 450, it is very, very severe, right? So this is the point we have to understand. And according to the Ministry of Earth Sciences data, vehicular emissions emitted to 17.5% of the air quality, and stubble burning only 0.5% of the total levels of PM 2.5 pollutant. So one thing you can totally understand over here, that the problem of air quality that is worsening day by day, it is mostly resulting from one of the primary factors, and that primary factor is vehicular emissions. This is the point that we have to understand, and we have to remember as well. आई होप यू आर गेटिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट, राइट? तो अगर आपसे पेपर में ये डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है, which of the following is the primary cause of air pollution if we talk about in Delhi? So you have to understand that the primary cause of air pollution in Delhi is the, let's say, the vehicular emissions, right? So these are the certain points that you need to keep in your mind while we are attempting these questions, right? So I hope you are able to understand this particular topic, right? क्या क्या measures हैं ये हमने देख लिए हैं. Then you have the Center for Air Quality Management, who is overall executing this whole particular thing, and what is the air quality when we are talking about over here, and the actions that have been taken under this controlling air pollution. This is under graded response action plan, and that is stage 3 of graded response action plan. Above this is stage 4 only, where you can see schemes like odd even scheme. So this is the point you have to understand, that how these all things are integrated and interrelated, right? So you have the Center for Air Quality Management, you have the BS6 Bharat Stage Emission Norms, you have the topic of over here graded response action plan, you have the air quality index, and you have the causes of the air pollution. अगर मैं बात करूं ना इस पूरे आर्टिकल के अंदर, यू कैन सी ईच एंड एवरी कंसेप्ट ऑफ एयर पोल्यूशन that is being mentioned over here, right? We do not give us so much focus on these type of news, but this type of news clearly mentions all the things. Now, one of the things you have to understand, if we are talking about something, let me talk to you something related to Bharat stage emission norms. Now, these are the emission norms that we have picked from the Europe, and we follow them. So we generally were to follow the norms like BS1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But what happened was we skipped the BS5 norms and we directly jumped from BS4 to BS6. Now, the question that would be coming to your mind is, what is the difference between BS4 and BS6? Now, one of the things we have to understand is, when I talk about BS6, the levels of particulate matter that would be released, its levels would be low as compared to BS4. Second, there would be lesser sulfur content that would be emitted into the atmosphere. And third important point that we have to understand is that in this new BS6 emission norms, there is a technology called the catalytic converter technology, where we are using a certain catalytic converters like palladium and rhodium, which are reducing nitrogen oxides into nitrogen. So this is one of the big points that we have to understand when I talk about Bharat stage emission norms. And one thing you have to understand, now the new cars that are being registered in the country have to be BS6, right? And you have to be BS6 compliant. This is the point that we have to understand. It doesn't mean that the older cars that were not BS6 were not be running on the roads. They are still running on the roads, but if you have to buy a new car right now, it has to be Bharat stage emission 6 compliant, right? So these are the certain points that we have to understand. These are the certain measures that have been put across to measure the problem of Delhi NCR. One of the things you have to understand is that there is a graded response action plan that has been put forwarded by the Delhi government, or we can say the Commission for Air Quality Management, right? We do not need to focus into Delhi government, but we have to focus into Commission for Air Quality Management. If this point is clear to you, give me a yes. Hanji. Okay. Shall we move to the next part? Okay. Now moving to the next part. Now this is an अगर हम यहाँ पे बात करें ना, आप ये केस स्टडी की तरह इसको देख सकते हैं. Karnataka is set to revoke ban on hijab on classrooms. Now, one thing you have to understand is that the previous BJP government had banned wearing hijab in educational institutions. But now, the new government, which is a Congress government in the Karnataka, they have said that the matters pertaining to food habits and dress are a matter of personal choice. And as a result, they are set to revoke the ban on hijab that they had put forward in the educational institutions in the classrooms. Now, this is a very, we can say, what is the different kind of approach that has been taken by this government in Karnataka, where they are saying that it is a person's choice what they want to wear and what they want to eat. No one can force, not even the state. So state is trying to maintain a distance from these particular kind of practices, right? So this is a thing that has been discussed and it has been put forward by the Karnataka government. So this could become a very important case study for you guys, and there important comes two important things, that is the notions of secularism. That one is the negative secularism agar if we talk about, and second one is the positive secularism, right? So अंडरस्टैंड दीज थिंग्स व्हाट दे आर ट्राइंग टू से ओवर हेयर. जैसे कि हम फ्रांस में बात करते हैं, तो फ्रांस के अंदर आप ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं कर सकते हो जिससे कि आप अपने पब्लिक स्फीयर के अंदर यू आर फ्लॉन्टिंग योर रिलीजन, राइट? सो यू कैनॉट wear hijab and you cannot be dressing like something like that in France as well. So these are the certain aspects you have to understand, that which, if we talk about the earlier government, so that was in line with the secularism that is promoted in France. But if we talk about in the case the Karnataka government is right now trying to do, so that is the notion of secularism, that the Indian secularism that we talk about, that is the positive secularism, right? Where the state promote all religions equally, right? I hope you are able to get this point. So you can use this in your questions as well, and this could become a case study for you as well, right? So these are the points that you have to understand. Okay. Now moving to the next part. Now nothing important in editorial, वही इजराइल गाजा का इशू चल रहा है, ठीक है, पॉलिटिकल आर्टिकल्स हैं, right? Now moving to the next part. Now, this is a very important news. India's rise in global south marks a pivotal point. Now, these are certain aspects that we need to understand, that something has changed over the let's say last few years, that India is now somehow being recognized and being identified as a voice of the global south. Now, global south are the group of countries that are developing countries and the least developed countries, and India is somehow becoming a voice of the global south, and that is quite evident from the fact that how India is representing the global south at international organizations and conventions, the most important being the conference of parties that is being held under UNFCCC, that is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, where we have already seen that under COP28 that India has been the voice of the global south. India has raised the issues of climate finance and has adequately addressed the problem of loss and damage fund, according to which it has been now operationalized as well. So India has become the voice of global south not only in these matters but also in other matters as well, if we talk about, right? So as a result, India's rise has been very much, we can say, pivotal and a very important one. Okay, now moving to the next part. Now, this is very important article that you need to understand, and you can write in your answers as well. When we talk about the financial independence of women, the employment opportunities for women, right, and for the working mother as well. See, one of the things that basically halt the woman's occupation after delivering a child is basically related to taking care of the children. As a result, they have to take more leaves. As a result, they are not able to get the jobs. So in order to set this particular thing straight and set, government has aimed to set up 17,000 crèche across India. Now this is very important, right? Because what it will try to do, these initiatives will be taken under the Palna scheme, that is to address the need for quality daycare facilities or crèches for children of working women by providing them the safe and secure environment for the nutritional, health and cognitive development of the children, thereby enabling more women among all social and economic groups to take up gainful employment in the organized and the unorganized sector. Now, this is a very important point that has been taken away, that has been to introduce these 17,000 crèche across India. Plus, the Women and Child Development Minister released a new standard operating procedure for Anganwadi crèche centers being set up under the Palna scheme. They outline a comprehensive framework for the administration and the implementation of the scheme, including administrative hierarchy, roles and responsibilities, and working and monitoring checklist. So this is a very good initiative that has been taken under the Palna initiative, where we are trying to provide what in the Anganwadi centers, we are trying to provide the daycare facilities so that it can lead to a proper, safe, secure, healthy, cognitive development of the children. And these type of what we call it as the Anganwadi centers and these scratch centers are very important, because from here the children start enjoying and start learning certain social etiquettes. They interact with other children, develop certain cognitive habits as well. So this is the starting point when we talk about the development of a children. Otherwise children would be at home only with their mothers, but now it gives an opportunity for the women as well, the working women as well, that they can find their jobs as well. Plus they don't have to worry for their child, because their child would be taken care of very well at these Anganwadi centers, and the government is planning to expand this network as well, that is of crutches, that is the palnas, what we call it as. And there have been provision that we will be setting up 17,000 crutch across India. Now this is the point that you have to understand, and these are the things you can mention in your answers as well. Okay, next article is very interesting. Gujarat, as you have seen, that it had separated from Mumbai and it was created in 1960, right? And from that, it has been a dry state. But now, in order to attract financial institutions, Gujarat in their gift city, right? That is their financial tech city, they would be permitting the liquor consumption. They will be permitting the liquor consumption, where the alcohol would be allowed at hotels and restaurants and clubs offering wine and dine in this gift city. Officials, employees, and workers working from the gift city will be exempted from this prohibition law. So what is the point that I'm trying to make over here is that the government or the Gujarat government is trying to relax certain rules related to alcohol consumption that have been let's say put forwarded from 1960s. As a result, now what they want is that more and more financial institutions shall come to their gift city. As a result, what they are trying to say over here is that we will permit the liquor consumption in the gift city to attract the financial institutions, right? So these are the points that you need to understand and need to be aware of as well, right? मैंने बताया था आज का न्यूज़पेपर ज्यादा इसी चीज के ऊपर फोकस्ड है. Okay, Economic scenario turning benign. Challenge for monetary policy is to facilitate this benign outcome where inflation trends down and growth remains robust, says MPC's Verma. Overall inflation outlook to be clouded by volatile food prices, intermittent weather stocks, predicts Das. Now, this is the point that we have to understand, that this is a debate that has been growing, that has been going on since quite a time. That is a challenge between the growth and the inflation. And one other thing that you have to understand is that the government is wary of the inflation that could be there because of the volatile food prices and the intermittent weather shocks. As a result, the government has been keen on keeping the repo rate fixed at 6.5%. But this thing can change over the period of time. If we see the drop in the trends in the inflation, then you might see in the upcoming times that there would be certain change in the monetary policy, and you can see the reduction in the repo rates as well. But overall concern remains that there could be increase in what? There could be increase in volatile food prices. So everything has to be balanced. Then only we can be able to better adjust in the future related to the growth rate, right? And one other thing we have to understand is that repo and growth rate and inflation, these are all mixed together. Somehow, when we talk about monetary policy, its main purpose is to target inflation, right? And the second purpose, if I talk about, is to make sure that we have a healthy, robust growth infrastructure in the country. I hope you are able to understand these points because these are very, very easy. China bans export of rare earth technologies. Now, this is very interesting. चाइना, आपको पता है कि रेयर अर्थ मिनरल्स जो हमारे ईवी गाड़ी ईवीज में यूज होते हैं या इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स में यूज होते हैं, उसका काफी ज्यादा प्रोड्यूसर भी है एंड एक्सपोर्टर भी है. बट चाइना हैज नाउ बैंड द rare earth technologies export, right? So this is very, very important thing that you need to understand. Now it will create a lot of pressure on other countries that they need to start finding certain instruments for themselves in which they are able to have their own base for rare earth minerals. And if I talk about the upcoming future that we see is in the field of electronics and EVs, and the most important thing is these rare earth, what we call as a group of 17 metals, would be very important, would be very, very resourceful, and every country will be vouching for this only. That is why if I talk about USA is all making its energy focus towards Indo-Pacific region. Why? Because this is a region where we have this rare earth metals as well, polymetallic nodules. So as a result, the has a focus on Indo-Pacific region. It doesn't want China to hold more than what he already has, that is according to rare earth metal, because China is trying to oversize that whole area. And if it is able to oversize that whole area, then it will become very difficult for other countries to have a monopoly, and China could become now the main economic and the super power, अगर वो ऑलरेडी नहीं है. देखो, कोई भी कंट्री जो सुपर पावर बनती है इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रेंथ पे बनती है और अपने रिसोर्सेज पे बनती है. एंड नाउ व्हाट वी हैव सीन what China is capable of right now. So that is why this whole IR game, international geopolitics, that is right now, it is aimed at focusing on containing China in the Indo-Pacific region. Right, guys? Okay. Now, this is the one important news you can understand. Masoor dal imports to remain duty free till March 2025. Right? याद रख लेना बस इसे. Okay. Moving to the next part. ठीक है, ये वही वर्ल्ड की न्यूज चल रही है, इसमें कुछ खास इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है आज के लिए. And we are almost done with the today's analysis, right? You have any doubt, you can ask me. So today's newspaper was very easy, very, very easy. And I hope you were able to understand this. ठीक है. So the newspaper has been very easy for the last 2 days, right? क्योंकि अभी COP 28 खत्म हुई है, so they don't have anything new that they could add up to, and there have not been any interesting editorial that has come. But these are certain news that you need to integrate in your notes and put in your notebook as well, right? So this is a very important aspect that you have to understand, right? So now we will be having a Sunday. After that, again on Monday, we will resume our process. And one thing I want to tell you, maybe next week there could be 1 or 2 day where we could have our session not on our usual time, but on a let's say thoda delay ho sakta hai session, right? Maybe on Tuesday or Thursday. I don't can confirm right now, but I will let you know on Monday. ट्यूसडे और थर्सडे को हमारा सेशन थोड़ा सा डिले हो सकता है, तो इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है किसी को? ठीक है, सेशन होगा जरूर, बट थोड़ा डिले हो सकता है. ठीक है, आपको 12-1 बजे के आसपास मिल सकता है ना? तो आपको पहले इन्फॉर्म कर दिया जाएगा कि इस दिन हमारा सेशन डिले होगा, तो स्ट्रीम भी उसी तरीके से बनेगी. सो डोंट वरी अबाउट इट, राइट? सो एज यू नो कि वी हैव बीन वेरी पंक्चुअल, राइट, from last 1 year, and we try to keep our session on time only. So thank you so much, guys. Enjoy. एंड हैव अ हैप्पी वीकेंड। पढ़िए, है ना। 25 को बेशक क्रिसमस है, पर मेरे ख्याल से सेशन होगा, राइट। डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट, राइट। सो थैंक यू सो मच, टेक केयर, बाय बाय, एंजॉय एंड बाय बाय। Okay, so Shivansh has a question. Difference between loss and damage and climate finance. See, Shivansh, there is a basic difference. Climate finance is related to when we talk about overall finance that has to be taken from developed countries and give it to developing countries, right? $100 billion. It could be in the form of mitigation, it could be in the form of adaptation. But when I talk about loss and damage, this is basically related to अगर कोई बहुत बड़ी मुसीबत आ जाती है किसी कंट्री के ऊपर, मान लीजिए फ्लड्स आ गए, ड्रॉट्स आ गए, साइक्लोन आ रहे हैं, एंड दैट इज बिकॉज ड्यू टू क्लाइमेट चेंज ओनली, राइट। फॉर दैट डैमेज दैट हैज बीन कॉज टू अ वन कंट्री, इट नीड्स टू बी फाइनेंस, इट वुड बी फाइनेंस थ्रू डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज। तो एक जगह डैमेज हो चुका है, उसको पे करने के लिए फंड बनाया गया है जिसका नाम क्या है, लॉस एंड डैमेज फंड। एंड द सेकंड थिंग इज क्लाइमेट फाइनेंस इज नॉट दैट डैमेज हैज अकर्ड और क्लाइमेट चेंज की वजह से बहुत इंपैक्ट पड़ा है अभी तक, बट ये है कि वो आने वाले टाइम में इंपैक्ट कम हो सके तो मिटिगेशन, अडेप्टेशन और एमिशंस को कम कर सके, दैट इज मिटिगेशन, उसके लिए पैसा चाहिए। सो क्लाइमेट फाइनेंस इज फॉर मिटिगेशन एंड अडेप्टेशन। व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट लॉस एंड डैमेज, ऑलरेडी डैमेज हैज टेकन प्लेस। ग्रीन बॉन्ड्स वुड बी समथिंग लाइक मोसीना मोहम्मद के, आपको बॉन्ड जो आपने पैसा रेज, बेसिकली बॉन्ड क्या है, डेट है एक तरह का, जो पैसा रेज कर रहे हो बॉन्ड के थ्रू, यू हैव टू इन्वेस्ट इन ग्रीन टेक्नोलॉजीज ओनली, ग्रीन सोल्यूशंस ओनली, राइट। उसी चीज के लिए आप यूज कर सकते हो। हाँ जी। और कोई डाउट किसी का? पूछा करो, देखो वेरी गुड, शिवांश ने क्वेश्चन पूछा, वेरी नाइस। इफ यू हैव एनी अदर डाउट यू गाइस कैन आल्सो आस्क मी। पूछ लिया करो, दिल में मत रखा करो। चलिए गाइस, थैंक यू सो मच, टेक केयर, बाय बाय।